That movie sucked.
I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.
What's up, potheads? Welcome to the Restricted Section, a show in which a bunch of nerds with potty mouths reread the Harry Potter series for the umpteenth time and discuss the way that the story and its themes have stayed with a generation into adulthood. Thanks for listening. If you haven't done the reading, don't even worry because we're talking about the movie this week. Here's The Prisoner of Azkaban, the film, the podcast episode. Sorry, I haven't started yet. I'm looking up nice complimentary adjectives so I don't make the same mistake I do every fucking recording. What? Just you wait. Just you wait. Just you wait.
I'm good.
I can't not do it. Welcome to the Restricted Section. It's me, your host, Christina. I'm delighted to be joined today by the scroll down, inventive Haley.
All right, I'll allow it.
And scroll down the wait, this one's funny. Okay, I won't say that one. The elegant Mary Clay.
Wait, no, I need to know what the one that you were saying I can't say that one was.
I was about to call you
Oh, I'm if anything, I am sleek. Yes.
Sleek over elegant.
That's me. I am both.
Okay.
She's beauty and she's grace. Her name is Mary Clay.
Okay, here we are. And scroll down. And I am super excited to introduce our very special guest this week, the amazing, awesome, excellent, fabulous, fantastic, incredible, outstanding, splendid, super wonderful Ethan Edgehill, co-host of Bacon and Eggs. Hello, we're so glad you're here.
I'm so glad to be here. I was sitting there like, resist the urge to wave, because we're on a Zoom call, but it's a podcast, and I've been doing podcasts for 4 years, and I still don't know how to podcast, apparently, because I wave every time. Hi, I'm Ethan Edgehill, host of Bacon and Eggs.
The listeners can hear the wave.
That's what I like to think, is that the wave comes through in a way. That
it conveys
projects
that energy.
Through the mic, yeah.
Exactly. So, Ethan, tell us a little bit about your pod, your network, what you do.
Hi, so I am a not full-time, but a mostly part-time podcaster, and I make a show about movies, I make a show about Dungeons and Dragons, and I own a DIY podcast network that makes shows about all kinds of things, including Mary Clay's other podcast. That's what I'm talking about. A show where she does way better at podcasting than I ever could. I
just did the same thing Ethan did, where I held up a peace sign to acknowledge.
She's cool. She's casual.
It's an audio.
Throwing up the deuces.
I am a freelancer in all kinds of different media, a semi-professional photographer, a musician, and a guy who collects things, I guess. Too many things. Lego sets, vinyl records, cameras, you know.
Started out as a brag and it turned into a confession.
I mean, every brag is inside every brag is because, like, I don't know. I'm proud of these things. I don't know what I'm talking about. You caught me in a weird moment, apparently.
Oh, I'm glad. You're in the right place.
All of your adjectives caught me off guard to the point where I'm like, I just need to
lot
spill
of adjectives.
My guts. Somebody's letting me talk about Harry Potter. I'm excited.
Here's the thing. Every single episode, I'm like, I'm so happy to be with the lovely Haley, and then that's always the last adjective I can come up
lovely.
with. And then I'm like, and then there's also Mary Clay.
She's here too, for what it's worth.
There's the lovely Haley and this person who I like, I guess.
And I've gotten in trouble, so I look.
That's the most Mary Clay way to introduce Mary Clay, though.
It would be, yeah.
So, Ethan, tell us a little bit about your very hairy history. When did you read the books? If you did, when did you watch them? What's up?
I guess it was probably 2001 when I first read the books. I got Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets from the Scholastic book catalog. Not the book fair, but when they would give you the catalog, you'd have to go home and mark off the boxes. And, your mom was sending a check. And my mom was like, hey, I've heard about these Harry Potter things. You should read them. I'm going to get them for you. And I was like, okay. And I got them and I was like, wow, this is rad. And then my church was like, you're the devil, die kid. And I was like, oh man, I really like these things then. This is cool.
It's like, I'm 12.
I'm so edgy.
Right. So, yeah, I was like, I am 8 years old. Please don't tell me to go to hell. And then I saw all the movies whenever they came out, and whatever year that was. I learned today this movie came out 17 years ago.
Wow.
Somehow 17 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. I believe that. That makes sense to me.
No, 2004 was 5 years ago. So that's
Right? Yeah.
that just doesn't make any sense.
So I'm not quite a day one with the series, but I'm as close as I guess you can be for being born when I was.
Yeah.
Because the first book came out when I was literally so.
Yeah, that's a little advanced.
I used to go to the midnight premieres of the books at my local Barnes and Noble, where everybody would dress up in Harry Potter costumes, and we would get our like fancy copies. And we did that for 5, 6, and 7.
Yes.
Oh, it's so fun, man.
I love that. Have I ever confessed on this podcast that I never did that once?
I don't know.
I feel like a lot of people did, and like my birthday was always like a couple days after the books came out, so I just sat at home and waited for it to be placed into my hands.
By the time 7 came out, like me and Mom went at midnight to get the book, and then I went home and read it straight through.
Yeah,
and then
straight
just
through.
like walked into her room and just like dropped it in front of her and was like, "Here, woman,
Like a
read this
mic
book." She's
Yeah.
like, "Was it good?" And I'm like, "I'm not saying anything."
Not
You're
saying
definitely gonna read it.
if anyone lives or dies or is revealed to be a rat. I don't know.
Yeah.
You'll see.
Yeah, well, only time will tell. So, Ethan, do you identify in particular with any Hogwarts house?
So I've taken the quiz twice, and I firmly believe in quiz over everything else.
Okay.
And so the first, I used to be a Ravenclaw, and then Tyler and I took the quiz again. Tyler, my other co-host from my podcast, Bacon and Eggs, took a quiz as like a YouTube video, and that told me I was a Gryffindor. And I don't know.
Okay. Well,
Mary Clay has thoughts.
what do you feel in your heart of hearts?
Honestly, that it super doesn't matter whatsoever, and people take it too seriously sometimes.
But you're on a Harry Potter podcast. It's like fun discourse.
I mean, sure.
This is the conversation that Ethan, Tyler, and I have all the damn time.
All the time.
Tyler didn't want to tell me
are
either.
about these Hogwarts
I have
houses.
no problem. Like, yeah, so like I always said I was Ravenclaw. Like I have a Ravenclaw t-shirt and a Ravenclaw scarf. I like the idea of being smart, I guess. That's what I would say in my heart of hearts.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. It's always good to have Ravenclaw energy on the show. And you just so happen to be wearing blue, so that's not a clue, but it is thematically appropriate.
It's something like that. It is. I wasn't entirely going for that, but like, you know, it was
blue
in the back of
tie-dye.
my mind. Probably
It chose
blue tie-dye. It's got
you.
some purple in there. The shirt shows me today.
I almost wore my Prisoner of Azkaban movie Hermione uniform.
Oh
today,
yeah,
but-
yeah. You
had
have
the like soft pink hoodie.
yeah.
Oh,
Hers
I
is
do-
a little bit too dark, but
I know.
but it's
I
pretty
d-
close.
Man, I was so drunk when we were watching the movie at my house, and I ran to go get that hoodie. I was like, "They're gonna love it."
What?
And we did.
What a strange costuming choice. Out of like all the costume choices ever in these movies and ever in film history, and there's a cat.
He's very.
This is
needy.
probably not new to anybody else. There's a cat there.
His name's Dante, and I've worked from home for a year and a half until yesterday, and he has a lot of feelings.
No.
Aww.
But that's fine. You're getting yeeted.
Listeners, the cat
you
was in fact Yote.
Drop. You can just drop cats.
Yeah, you can just
They
chuck
do that.
cats. Joke's on me. He's right between my feet right now. He didn't go far.
Cats always land butter side down, right?
That's the idiom.
Yeah, that's what people say. That's the thing.
So where do you put the butter on the cat?
He's a butterfeet.
It's a great question, isn't it?
On their feet, on their belly, on their back?
Everywhere.
On everything's
Just
cute but her
covered in
feet.
So what are y'all's houses? Because I've had this conversation so many times with Mary Clay that I've forgotten what she actually identifies as.
I am an enigma.
She's a slither.
No,
That's
I'm
a
a slither.
Slytherin answer.
I mean, that's the correct answer for Mary Clay. Absolutely.
Yeah. Ain't no law when you're on the claw, dude.
There you go.
I am on the claw, but only because I'm drinking White Claw. I'm a Hufflepuff.
Okay.
And that is something that I do feel deeply, which is maybe why I try to get other people to identify with a house. I just think it's fun discourse, but I am trying to be more considerate of the ways in which like categorizing can like be dangerous. And we did have a guest on our podcast one time who was like, honestly, I don't like any of those houses and I made up my own. And I respect that so much. Claire, if you're out there. It was like Grizzlepaw or something, and
Yeah.
it was like
I
a
think I was on for
Slytherin.
that maybe, yeah.
It was like a Slytherin Hufflepuff hybrid, where it was like we just don't really care and we lay around a lot.
I mean, here's the thing, though, is in every podcaster there is to some extent a Slytherin. Because,
I don't agree.
you have to get on a microphone and be like, and people need to hear the things I have to say.
I don't
So to
know.
me-
I think that's
to-
Gryffindor energy, though.
To me, that feels like Gryffindor energy because I'm like a Hufflepuff who presents as a Gryffindor.
Okay.
I'm a Hufflepuff rising. I don't know how the zodiac
yeah,
stuff
the
A
horoscopes
Hufflepuff
work, yeah.
son
But-
with a Gryffindor rising. I
Yeah,
think
like
is what they would say.
I'm a Hufflepuff at my core, but I'm like very braggadocious. I'm also a Cancer Leo because if you want to listen to our thoughts about houses and horoscopes, please join our Patreon for next month's bonus episode.
Okay, so I'm a Pisces, like fully
Okay.
in the middle of this the dates. Pisces. What does that mean for?
Well, that's actually really interesting because Pisces are supposed to be a combination of all of the rest of the signs.
Okay,
So they're usually very like multifaceted and have a lot going on, you know? So I think I want to hear what everyone's like self-definition is. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So the fact that you like the idea of being a Ravenclaw, I think that is like what's up. Also, I forget who in our Discord a couple months ago shared that like a very elaborate house sorting system. Haley, do you remember that one where it was like you can be like
Oh, yeah.
you can be like a Ravenclaw or like a burned Ravenclaw, and that means that like you wish the world was Ravenclaw, but it's not. Or you could be like it was like very complicated. It was like a Myers-Briggs test.
No, it was not like most of the house like Hogwarts house tests that you take where you're like, are you like, do you prefer badgers, snakes, lions, or eagles?
Oh, the
Like,
OG, the
My
OG.
favorite,
yeah,
test.
exactly.
my favorite for those quizzes is when it's like, how would your friends describe you? And it would be like, brave, smart, fun, evil.
Yeah.
I'm a snake.
Some Slytherins would be like, I am the evil, and that's me.
Yeah, I'm I guess like a Ravenclaw son with like a Dauntless rising.
Okay, shut up. Okay, wait. Shut up.
That's
about
my favorite
Divergent
game to
right
play. Is
Okay.
to
I'm
insist that
Amity.
you're Amity. Okay,
now. I'm Amity.
my favorite game to play is insist that other sorting systems from other fantasy worlds are part of the Hogwarts house system.
Amity and Hufflepuff are the same.
I
I'm
think
sorry.
I think I would be a Dauntless, but I wouldn't
Dauntless
make
and
it.
Gryffindor are the
I
same.
wouldn't make it through the initiation process, and I would be outcast
You
into
would just
society.
not try to jump on
I
the
would,
train.
yeah, I would either like be killed during the initiation process, or I just wouldn't make the cut, and then that's when you become like one of the factionless. I think is what they call
Right.
them.
Yeah, the factionless.
I think I would like either I would be Dauntless, but I just wouldn't make the cut.
Okay, well, catch us on our Divergent podcast. Just kidding. I fucking hate that book series. We don't need to talk about it.
Really?
We don't
Oh,
need to
man,
talk
okay.
about it. It's one of my rants.
Two roads divergent in a woods. Don't.
I literally finished it for the first time yesterday. So
What? Wait,
I
the
think
whole
it's a fun
series?
read.
Yeah.
The whole series, and you don't know why I don't.
No, I thought it was fantastic. It's my
Yeah,
my absolute favorite
Okay.
piece of post Hunger
okay.
Games,
Okay.
post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, I enjoyed
YA
the
dystopian
books
fiction.
thoroughly. I enjoyed
Okay.
the process of reading
Here's the
those and
thing.
everything.
I can't get into why it bothers me so much without spoiling the entire series. So I'm just gonna move us boldly on into something
The
else.
ending
to fight
isn't
about.
great.
Can I
but-
ask you after off camera?
Yes.
Cool,
I would
because I'm
love
very
to talk about-
curious.
She
mean,
really
here's-
does have a canned rant for this.
Here's a hint. Here's a hint is like I only like to watch cartoons because you know it's okay in the
Okay, I mean that's fair.
Ethan, what kind of Truly do you have? Because
This
the
is
can looks green.
It's the Truly Punch, citrus punch.
Is it good?
This one sucks.
Okay, all right.
I was gonna say I
This
saw
one,
they were.
the blue one, is pretty good.
Okay.
They all looked
The
super
red one
sugary
is slightly better
to
than
me.
that one, and the purple is the best. That being said, White Claw supremacy here. I did not buy these; my girlfriend did, and I will have to go out tomorrow and replace them.
No,
but
I
she's
prefer
not here.
Truly's. I prefer Truly to White Claw. That'll be another episode. Is us ranking the hard
Regular
seltzers.
White Claw is better than regular Truly, but the Truly Punches are better, and the Truly Lemonades are better than the White Claw.
So just like when you took the sorting test, were you more of a Truly or a White Claw?
I was definitely more of a White Claw.
I'm more of a Vizzy.
Oh yeah, you do like busy. I'm a claw. I have a crab tattoo. I have to be.
I just
claw.
put vodka in my Spindrift. What house is that?
That's
That's
a
some
Gryffindor move.
Slytherin. Oh really?
That's funny. They're
Here's
two
the
sides
thing.
of the same coin.
No,
Two
there's some
sides of the same
inherent
coin.
evil baked into that one for sure.
Wait. I'm a Vista Bay. I'm the Aldi knockoff. What
God,
does
there's so
that?
many.
What does that say about me?
That-
Besides that I'm cheap as fuck.
Haley, that's your Hufflepuff side. I hate to break it.
I'm a Bon and Vive.
Fair enough. That's fair.
Okay, let's move on.
How long
to...
were you to talk about?
This is average. This is normal.
I had to learn everything about Ethan before we got
Yes.
started. Okay, and here's how we will start.
Cool.
Okay, so Mary Clay and Haley, the reason that they're both on this episode is because they're going to fight the whole time. So
we're
before we
not.
hear any of their... Well, that's why I brought you here. That's what you're getting paid for, so I might need you to... So, but
You guys are getting paid?
Before we get into it, I would love to hear from you, Ethan, a little bit about this film, how you feel about it as a film, maybe like a just like a little summary.
Cool.
What's it called? The abstract of your essay.
Yes. So I think this film does a couple things for me really well. I think this is the best, not the best adaptation of one of the books, but the biggest improvement over book of all of the movies. I really think that this is where the actors started to come into their own as characters. Obviously, I love the new setting, the new scenes, the new directing work. I mean, I think Alfonso Cuarón was a brilliant choice to bring into this series for no reason. Just like an actual art film director being like, hey, I'm gonna make a Harry Potter movie with a bunch of these kids, and I don't particularly speak English. It's gonna be great. And I think that's fantastic. Just it adds a whole different level of silliness, but also seriousness to it at the same time. I'm a big fan of Michael Gambon as a replacement for Richard Harris. I mean, obviously, I'm sorry that Richard Harris died after Chamber, but I do really like the addition. I think Gary Oldman is a fantastic addition to the series. That being said, this is one of my least favorite Harry Potter stories, so it doesn't it doesn't really.
So to you, anything would have been an improvement because you didn't even enjoy the story as much.
I mean, I enjoyed the story. It's probably my 6th favorite Harry Potter book.
Wow, that is a pretty unpopular opinion.
I would agree. A lot of people are like, "This is the best one. Absolutely the best one." It's a side quest to me. It always has been. Right?
I was gonna say it's kind of like it's not a filler book, but it's the only one that has nothing to do directly with this overarching plot of Voldemort and Harry.
Well, and just for what happens to Sirius to happen to Sirius in book 5 and not book 7, right? It's we introduce all this crap and then it doesn't matter in 2 books, and they just get on with it after that, right? It's fine. It's a good story. It's fun. I think that there's a lot of development of the outside of Hogwarts world in the story that's important. But I tweeted earlier and said that half of this book is about a kangaroo court for a bird horse, and
that is true. There's a lot of time wasted on Buckbeak.
There's a lot of time wasted in general. Not maybe as bad as 5. Where
oh my god, tell me again how grumpy you are, Harry.
The entire story of 5 doesn't matter, and they could have just had the whole thing at the Ministry of Magic in September, but they chose to have it in June instead. So there had to be a villain in the way, a side villain, which is fine, but I enjoy that one more than this one. But I love this movie. It's fun. It's a good time. It's beautiful, and I think it really sets the tone for the rest of the movies pretty well. It was a needed improvement for the series. I think that if they tried to keep going Chris Columbus down the 1 and 2 route, I think 1 and 2 were perfect for what they were. If we'd kept going with that,
because they were kids movies. Because that's what Chris Columbus did is kids movies, and that's why he was brought on. And yeah, I forgot. Obviously I knew when I was watching it that that was a different Dumbledore, but I kind of forgot that this is the introduction of the new Dumbledore actor. And I saw a post. I think it was a TikTok, and it was saying obviously, they had no control over having to change that casting because it's very sad what happened to Richard Harris. However, it was probably for the best because Richard Harris made Dumbledore so kind and gentle and loving that later on in book 5, 6, and 7, or movies 5, 6, and 7, you might not have been able to hate him or be annoyed with him in the same way that you can with Michael Gambon.
I think that's a really valid critique of man, I'm so bad with actors' names, of the first
Richard
one.
Harris.
Richard Harris, thank you so much. And I totally agree. I think that for the most part, I really enjoy Michael Gambon's performance. I just wish that he had more softness. You need someone who you need someone who can look like Richard Harris and then become Michael Gambon.
And unfortunately for them, Ian McKellen had just spent the previous 3 years of his life already being busy. A different wizard.
I know. I think if they had been able to make the significant and sweeping changes they made after 3 instead of before, that it would have felt less jarring in the whole circumstance of the things. Because for me, 3 has always been the outlier for that reason. Is like 3 as a book feels more connected to 1 and 2 than it does 4, 5, 6, 7, which all sort of feel like one unit. But like 3 as a movie definitely feels more connected to 4, like 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
I think it's a good like transition into, because 4 is where it starts getting more serious and darker, obviously. So I think 3 is a good transition.
Well, it had happened sometime, and it was always going to be weird.
Yeah.
When it did happen. I mean, that's the nature of book to movie adaptations, especially in a series.
Absolutely.
If the author is like, hey, I'm going to write 7 of these, and they're going to, grow with the protagonist, like, the movies also have to do that. They have to account for them. It's
right.
Like, did we have to go maybe as hard into it as David Yates did at the end? That's a great question,
Yeah, well, we'll have you back on for that episode.
I would love to come talk about number 7.
I'll hit you up in 5 years
because
when we get there.
Boy, do I have thoughts about the David Yates verse. I do love them, but they also are crazy.
Terrible.
Okay, Haley, I would love to hear your
oh boy
rebuttal.
Let me tell you why everything you just said is 100% objectively wrong.
Perfect. Let me know.
This is my second least favorite of the films after 6. I have three criteria for what makes a good movie for me. Did the everyone involved with creating it have a clear idea of what they were trying to do? Did they execute that well? And was what they were trying to do fucking stupid? I think that they had a clear idea of what they were trying to do. I think they executed it okay. I think that the thing that they were trying to do was appeal to American teenage audiences. I remember I was like about 12, 13 when this film came out. And my first thought seeing the trailer was, why the fuck did they get Tim Burton to direct this?
That tracks.
It looks like...
Helena Bonham Carter's not even here yet.
It looks like Edward Scissorhands. It looks like Edward fucking Scissorhands.
It is the trailer.
It's big spooky vibes.
It took everything that made the Harry Potter universe feel real in the first 2 movies and was like, let's just make this silly and weird and stupid. Also, like, I can forgive the aesthetic because, as you say, fine, sure, it kind of gave us that transition. I really like the 4th movie because it took that tone and scaled it way the fuck back again. But also the thing that I will never be able to forgive is the fact that they cut out the entirety of the Marauders' backstory, which was kind of the point of book 3.
Let's talk about it. Mary Clay, what do you got?
Let me tell you why everything you said was objectively 100% wrong.
Remember when I said you guys were gonna fight and you were like, no, we're not.
See, here's the thing. Is I have so much shit happening in my life all at once that I literally cannot come on here and argue. Like, I don't have the energy to come on and argue, so I'm trying to be like have a more chill vibe than I think I would have maybe like 3 weeks ago.
I think I'm in a similar position right now, Mary Clay.
Cool.
Guys, we're all fucked, okay? We're in this together.
Oh, man. So... I don't even remember what I was going to say. I love that. Look, I love the aesthetic. It's so funny to me that you say that you felt like the first 2 films made this feel real and then that messed this up, because for me, when I watch Prisoner of Azkaban, it feels more authentic. It feels like I'm actually watching like normal kids if they were in a wizard school. I love like these really small details where like there are moments throughout their school day where like their uniforms become more disheveled as like throughout the day they loosen their tie or they untuck their shirts or they take their sweater off because it's gotten warmer throughout the day. I like seeing them in their like regular normal clothes rather than just in their school uniforms. It's so funny to me because the scene where the boys are in the Gryffindor dormitory eating those gummies is like one of my favorite scenes in the whole franchise, because it's just so... I just love getting to see them have fun and be kids together.
Oh, the only scene from this movie that I like? Okay, we can agree on that.
Okay, cool. We can get on that same page.
If you were a magical RA, that would be such a good, like, dorm team building exercise. You know, like, everyone just act like a barbarian. We're going to eat these candies together. Okay, here's my question. This is my hot take. Why does Harry... Wait, who? Is it Harry in that scene? turns into a teapot.
Yeah, well, I thought it was a train with a steam whistle or something.
Whatever it is.
Are you looking for consistency in this movie? The first 2 minutes.
I will say,
first 2 minutes show Harry doing Lulu's at home.
Hang on, stop. You guys got way longer than I did to speak. I will say, yes, this does set up some inconsistencies, unfortunately. Even within the same film, there are inconsistencies. Fully recognize that. I fully recognize that there are its drawbacks. I recognize that there's no Marauders story. What?
Quick interjection. Any time travel story has issues. I maintain that
I don't even care about the time travel stuff.
So hard to write time travel.
I don't even care about the time travel stuff. But I think overall, I just love the vibes.
Vibes is good.
I'm here for the aesthetic. To me, it feels so whimsical. It feels more like realistic, whereas the first 2 movies to me felt very almost like fairy tale. Like, it was very clear to me, oh, we're watching a movie about a wizard boy in a wizard school. Whereas this one is oh yeah, they're kids and there are these things happening and they're at wizard school, I guess. But yeah, I love the vibes. I love the aesthetics. I think from a movie perspective, it's a great movie if you just take the book out. It's an enjoyable experience for me. And it is a shame that we lose that backstory of the Marauders, but I understand why, because for the purposes of the story that they're telling in this movie, knowing that they all used to turn into animals to help their friend doesn't really have anything to do with the plot. And it sucks because that's a very endearing part for these characters that we love to learn about, but for the sake of the story they're telling, I don't think it's important to know.
Okay, Haley has her finger up, but I haven't gotten to say my abstract yet, and I don't want this conversation to actually turn into a fight. Okay, please don't fight. Here's my thoughts about the Prisoner of Azkaban movie. I'm used to book adaptations into films letting me down. I enjoy watching it when it's on. I'm glad that they made the creative choice to have Hermione punch Malfoy instead of slap him. And yeah, Halloween vibes is fun. And I like Hermione's pink hoodie.
Priorities.
So that's how I feel. So let's talk a little bit about, I didn't have an instance. Let's talk about Hermione, because this is a very Hermione heavy.
Or she just gaslights her friends
the entire time. For the entire year.
I love that when they're in the divination class and they're like, "What? You weren't here?" And she's like, "What are you talking about? I've been here the whole time."
This was before gaslighting was a thing.
I mean, gaslight came out in 1950.
People, well, okay, in the people weren't commonly looking for gaslighting.
Sure.
Yeah.
And if they were, they wouldn't be looking for it with Hermione.
That's true. Yeah. No, I love Hermione in this story, both in book and movie. I do think they actually did a great job of translating that gaslighting onto screen. I think maybe they could have hit on that once or twice more, just sort of
the little
more
visual
subtle
confusion of where is she?
Right. And I actually don't hate the time travel here either. And normally I hate time stuff unless it's a time travel movie.
Right. It's worth noting that the time travel in the Prisoner of Azkaban film makes slightly more sense than it does in the book. Because in the book they do the time turner in the infirmary and they end up in the entrance hall. And that doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so I have a comment on that, which is when we were watching this at your house, I was questioning very much. I'm like, hang on, so what time is it when they leave the hospital wing? When Dumbledore's 3 turns should do it. What time is it then? And then they return to the past at 7:30 p.m., but he says 3 turns should do it. And I would say 1 turn is equal to 1 hour, so that would imply that it's 10:30 p.m. But
are you doing math right now?
But then I counted the chimes of the clock when they're running back up at the end of the sequence. It dings 14 times. Okay, so does that mean it's 2 a.m.?
That is a great example of consistency.
Yeah, honestly, both versions bother me a lot because you said why the book version bothers me a lot.
Why do they move space and time?
Yeah,
it's not the space and time turner.
Yeah, so I kind of remembered in the book, I always thought that oh no, they go into a broom closet and then Hermione does the time turner and then they come out of the broom closet. But no, as you said, they do the time turner in the hospital wing and then they appear in the entrance hall. And then in the movie, they just do it in the middle of the hospital wing, assuming no one's going to be there to see them fucking materialize out of thin air at 7:30. Okay.
It's true, but it does look cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
turn back time.
Yeah, that's the thing with this movie. It prioritizes what looks cool.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm okay with that.
I am too.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it to an extent. It went well beyond that extent for me.
I agree with you. I'm okay with it to an extent. The hospital wing thing doesn't bother me as much. I don't know why. Maybe it's they're invisible all the way back in time. But what does bother me for sure is the Lumos thing that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
That's to me, okay. My main critique, no spoilers, Mary Clay, of the Hobbit film. No spoilers.
Do you want me to take my... I'll take my headphones off and you can just wave at me.
It's not a specific critique. No, it's really... You're not going to... I've already said it to you. Just
okay.
Stop trying to take it. My biggest critique of the Hobbit film is that... It's normal to make changes from a book to... But what you cannot do is change the laws of the world we're in.
Uh-oh.
Right? That's how I feel about The Hobbit.
Well, given that it's a 200-page book where, for the majority of those 200 pages, nothing really happens.
And then they turn it fucking movies.
They turned it into 3 movies.
Don't make it 3 movies. Then you won't have to fill it with stuff that goes against the history and the culture.
I feel so bad for Tolkien about right now because I start every episode with I'm sorry, guys, nothing happens in this chapter again.
Wow, we're all burping a lot right now.
They just sit in the tunnel and figure out what to do, and then they make Bilbo go do it.
So that's my critique of the Lumos thing also. It's do whatever you want, but you just change the laws of this world.
Literally, while Harry is leaving Privet Drive, he pulls his wand on Uncle Vernon. Uncle Vernon's you're not allowed to do magic outside of school.
Goes, try me.
Yeah, okay, so what did they...
sassy Harry moment.
Yeah, it's really sassy. It would have worked really well if they hadn't fucking done that in the first 2 minutes of the movie.
But look, see, actually, that was my first note. I wrote, Alfonso Cuarón really said aesthetic. And then I wrote, but sir, he's not supposed to do magic outside of school. He literally gets in trouble for it 10 minutes later. Aesthetic!
Mary Clay just said Cuarón so nicely.
Thank you. I've been practicing. I've been praching for this for this occasion.
Can I just say this vis-a-vis time travel? I think the reason that I think that it does well in this movie is because it has never occurred to me to give a fuck whether or not it makes sense.
I kind of just I just let it happen and whatever. I want to put the original timeline from the movie side by side with the second timeline because there are a lot of points where I'm okay, at this point in the original timeline, the rock was already thrown at Harry, but in the second timeline, she takes longer to throw
Can't
it.
Talk
and so
about the rock, dude.
There's for some reason you hate the rock. So I just let the time travel thing go.
And for me, if every other movie, I'm watching Avengers Endgame, I'm this doesn't make fucking sense. Okay, there's no way he gets the hammer back. It's not how it works.
None of that makes.
And with Prisoner of Azkaban, both book and movie, I'm sitting here magic.
Yeah, that's kind of...
I don't know why. It's just written
just let it go.
and portrayed in such a way that it just does not ever occur to me to care whether or not it works.
I'm just it's magic.
No, the magic system in Harry Potter is very it's magic, it doesn't matter. And time turners are the level of magic where it's don't ask questions. In universe, people are just don't fucking question this. You will drive yourself insane.
My favorite thing ever is how J.K. Rowling realized what she did with the time turners and then in book 5 destroyed them all so she never had to deal with it again.
She had to have had somebody at every book signing and every interview being Miss Bitch, hi, what would you do about time travel? And they're and she's just
he knows what we call her.
Cannot deal with this anymore. So she's
you
know what? So, time turners got fucking broken, okay? They're all gone.
Why didn't Dumbledore go get a time turner from the Ministry and go back in time to before Harry and Cedric start the third task?
She's raising her hand.
Why didn't Dumbledore go back and get a time turner and show up at Godric's Hollow and just fucking murder Voldemort?
Yeah, look.
Okay, guys, that's quite.
That would have been a lot of turns.
That's so many turns.
1, 2, 3,
It's an hour at a time.
5. Oh, I lost count. Dang
Hold on a
it.
second, guys. He shows up in like 1975, like shit.
No. You lose
this
track
wrong.
and you just have to stop and then like run into a grocery store and grab somebody like, what year is
Where is
it?
it?
Well, it was brand new.
Well, no, because then the time turner, it doesn't let you go forward in time, correct? Do we know this?
No idea.
Because if you were to go back in time, then you would have to live through the next 9 years, like in real time, or 10 years or whatever.
I think the bottom line is there's way too many questions, and that's why she had to kill them all.
Yeah. Which I just think is hilarious. Where she's like, "Oh,
you cannot come onto my show, Ethan, and start dropping dice on my podcast.
I can't stop playing with the dice. There's too many on my desk right now. Can I make one last controversial point real quick?
I'm sure it will not be the last, but please go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I adore movie number 6. I love it so much. It's one of my absolute favorites. I used to hate it. I used to swear it was the worst one. And the older I got, the more I was like, you know what? 6 might slap. I love it.
I enjoy 6 a lot too.
Movie 6 was the first one that I saw after reading the books. I hadn't read any of the books from movies 1 through 5. So when I saw 6, I was like, all right, gonna see this thing adapted on screen. I know what happens in the books. And then I'm watching it and they're burning the burrow. And I'm like, this did not happen.
Yeah.
Okay, the drama of that for sure.
I mean, like 6 is also my least favorite book. So my dislike of 6 is actually, here's the thing. I don't like 6 because I don't enjoy watching it. And that's why it's my least favorite of the films. Like, I don't even have rants about it. I just don't enjoy watching it. But like 3 I have rants about, but I can at least like watch it and just enjoy it for what it is.
Okay. I can respect that.
But also like everything that they did like stylistically drives me fucking insane.
Respect that.
Okay, I like watching things. This is something I consider to be a big Hufflepuff energy. I don't like watching things where I don't know everybody's going to be okay at the end. So that's why I prefer movies 1 through 3, because like that's why I watch so many cartoons, dude. I fuck with Disney so hard, and it's because like at the end it's like I'm grinning, you know.
How'd you feel about Soul?
Oh, I actually really love Soul. Listen to our episode of the Movie Night Crew that covers Soul from like a million years ago. Wow, where was I? I think I was just trying to give a speech about how I like movies to end happy. But here's the thing is it's like sometimes it's okay for a movie to end in a way that's like, okay, the end of this movie is not happy,
I know.
Right? It's it's like, okay, well, bare minimum, this is this is what we got.
There's a TikTok trend currently where people are like, it's called self-care, and it shows them like cutting off a movie or a TV show right before, like right when things are happy and right before things go to shit. And I posted one of this movie where it's Harry and Sirius talking, and Sirius has just said like, oh, would you maybe want to move in with me? And then I paused it and then I turned the TV off. That's exactly what I did. And then same with movie 5, I turn it off right when Sirius says, nice one, James! And then I shut it off.
Don't you say
and then
nice
I
one,
do
James,
not watch
to me.
movies 6, 7, or 8.
Yeah, okay, but one reason I do like movie number 6 is because my best friend in the world, Lavender Brown, is in that one, and I fuck with Lavender Brown so much. I respect her, okay? She does no wrong in that movie.
She gets wronged in that movie.
She gets wronged! She's out here just doing her best, feeling cute, trying to snog.
Yeah. She does not do anything wrong. She does do some wrong.
She's trying to have hot girl summer, but at Hogwarts and all year round, and
I love her and her stupid bandanas and her stupid accent. Okay, anyway, we're talking about The Prisoner of Azkaban. So here's one thing that I don't love is the scene. Okay, well, I actually love it.
Is it the Whomping Willow?
No, it's not the one. Wait, okay. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the
again,
Willow.
how I said
It's
earlier
so bad.
that like I can admit that this movie has a lot of drawbacks, and one of them is that there are all these weird like slapsticky kind of like Scooby-Doo moments.
Scooby-Doo,
There are those moments in the night bus when Harry slams into the glass, and like maybe
Well, that I don't mind because like that's the moment for it.
I don't know. Maybe one time is okay, but they do it again later. And then the Whomping Willow, when it looks like you're supposed to have 3D glasses on, because it stops with like Hermione's feet all of a sudden, like in front of the camera. It stops and then it like launches her away. And meanwhile, Harry's on the ground doing a Velma, I can't find my glasses.
Well, first of all, that happens.
Which is weird. I think it's weird that like they pull that in, like it never, in my memory, I don't think that ever happens to Harry in the books where he has a moment of like I dropped my glasses and I can't find them. Oh no.
Okay,
like,
but it's not an unreasonable thing to happen. It happens to me in the mornings when I reach for my glasses on the bedside table a little wrong.
I just remembered that Hermione reaches down to grab Harry's shirt and it freezes and he looks down and then looks up and then he gets pulled away. That's dumb. So that's my least favorite scene in this movie.
Well, here's my question. This tree doesn't look like a willow? Does this tree look like a willow?
There are some species of willow that kind of look like that.
I just typed in willow and I'm looking through all of them on Google Images.
Looks like a willow that's like swole.
That's what I did.
Right,
it's
like
not,
it's been working out.
Well, it's got a womp.
Like it womps.
Yeah, no, like, okay, so we're used to weeping willows, which are not the only...
I didn't type in willow.
I typed in willow tree. Well, except all I'm getting is weeping willow.
If you type in just willow, it takes you to stuff.
So there was...
movie stuff, not Taylor Swift stuff?
So like I went to college in New Hampshire, and like I do have strong memories of like there was this one tree out in like the middle of fucking nowhere place that I went to school that was a willow tree that like I remember seeing it and being like, oh, that's the kind of willow tree it's supposed to be, because it was like it was large and like knobbly, and then it had like
muscly,
kind
Swole.
of like, and then like it had all these like big like knots all over it, and then like the willow branches kind of just like stuck off like sparse hair.
That's
it was not
crazy.
It was not a pretty tree.
Well, when I saw this when I was a kid, I was like, that's not it.
It could also just be that it's not literally a willow tree.
That's just like a cute
colloquially. That's just what they call it.
Yeah, wizards just go in.
It's actually an oak tree, but whomping oak doesn't sound as fun.
What's alliterative?
Yeah, wizards just go in for alliteration.
We could ask a British person, ostensibly.
Wow, we've had a British person before one time on the podcast to set us straight, and she was here so briefly. Jade, come back. We need you now more than ever. Everyone's burning so much
Sorry,
tonight.
I can't help it. I don't know why I'm gassy.
Okay, let's talk about Hagrid and Buckbeak. Let's talk about that whole thing.
Oh, I saw the poop.
Okay, the poop. That's real.
When we were watching it at Christina's house, we were all talking about. We were like, I think they have him poop, but we missed it.
Okay, wait. There's this.
I caught it this time.
This whole season, we've been debating whether Buckbeak, I'm so sorry, has a butthole or a cloaca, and it's been like a big debate.
What?
A cloaca is what birds tend to have.
Yeah, it's the combination genital.
It's the wet. It's for wet pooping.
No, I think
via birds.
No,
well,
I think
that's the thing is Buckbeak gives a solid shit. So that's an asshole right there. Yeah,
I think it's
she's
an
asshole. So yeah,
I'm glad we answered that question.
How do we like us pooping aside? How do we like the graphics of Buckbeak?
I think it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I always pictured him as more as prettier.
Interesting.
I mean, they are described as being deeply, deeply weird to look at.
Fair.
I think the movie went like a little farther on the horse side of things than I always pictured, but I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, because you got to be able to like ride it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the flight makes him.
Big Daddy Buckbeak.
I think the flight only makes him look more majestic. So like it, when they're in the in the forest, if we don't think he looks beautiful, I think when he's in flight is like only helps and improves it. So that's my take. Yeah.
But yeah, I think he looks great. Moment. he's got a lot of personality.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite scenes actually in the movie is the buckbeak in the forest scene. Just I really like the costuming there, and I like Tom Felton being that much of an
He's very good in this.
That's where I really noticed the costuming for the kids, because like the whole Alfonso Cuarón's whole thing was that he wanted the kids to design their own wardrobe basically and like use their own ideas for that. Apparently,
I love
like make
that.
it. Yeah, he was like make it your own.
Yeah, he was like
That's
dress
so
how you think
cute.
your characters would dress given the
In their
restrictions
uniform,
of in your
yeah.
their yeah.
It's like when you go to summer camp and you get like a t-shirt, but it's like you can cut the neck off, you can make it a crop top. It's fun here. It's summertime.
Exactly. And so I think that's really where that comes through, because for most of the rest of the movie they're in the hoodie scene clothes after that.
Can you believe that Ron Weasley wears an orange sweater over an orange t-shirt in this fucking movie?
I still didn't notice it. You
It's
pointed it
gross.
out last
It
time
does
and I
not look
didn't
great.
notice it.
It's like, come on. We get it. He's ginger. You can stop.
He's orange.
What is Harry wearing this one? Is this blue t-shirt Harry? I already can't remember.
Yeah,
He
it's
has
blue
his
t-shirt
zip up
with
right?
which he wears for like the rest of the franchise.
Yeah, that blue t-shirt.
But he has the zip up, right?
Do you know how? Yeah, it's a zip up. Do you know how disorienting it would be though if they were just wearing like a Gap sweatshirt or
Gap
an
would pay
Adidas?
big money for that.
I don't think they have
You
Gap
know?
in the UK though. It'd have to be
So
like
it has
Topshop.
to be these generic clothes.
British
Yeah.
countryside
And they
clothes.
also can't really, it would have looked really weird if like their regular clothes were like Jenko jeans because it was the 90s.
No!
Yeah, they definitely.
That being said, I don't know what 90s fashion was like in the UK in the 90s, but
You watched Spice Girls, right? Was that before
I
your
watched
time?
Spice Girls or
Yeah,
Listen.
that's you watch their movie to see their style. You can't see their style from their music, but you can kind of get the vibe, I guess.
I truly think they looked at the movie or the books being set in the 80s and 90s and were like, no,
we
not
can't do
happening.
that. We can't deal
Yeah.
with that. Otherwise, it's gonna be ridiculous looking.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the casting of Emma
Amazing.
Thompson?
5,000 stars.
Yeah, the casting's great.
Okay.
I always
Of
think the
everything
casting
in the
for
world.
these movies.
Speak to that more. What's wrong with Trelawney?
My question?
No,
Loaded?
Haley.
Oh, okay.
No, I honestly think that the casting's fine.
Right. So
I've got problems
like,
I've got problems with the writing. I've got problems
so
with the
she's
presentation.
I
I think they
got
picked
you, I
good
got you.
actors.
Okay. Who's the worst cast in this film? Like, who could have been done by like
So,
anyone else?
The only thing is that I love Gary Oldman and I forget his name, who plays Lupin.
David
and I love
Thewlis.
Timothy Spall as Pettigrew. I think he is cast amazingly well.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's just a bummer because they were supposed to be a little bit younger. They were
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be in their like mid 30s at this point.
he could have been like a hot
And they're
cat.
definitely like in their 40s.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Yeah.
that's the only shame I think about the casting choices, but at the same time, I don't really care because they kill it. So
I mean, I think that I think Lupin was perfect, just all around. I think
You guys
that
know how I feel about Lupin?
yes.
I do not.
Oh, you don't
lo-
like Lupin?
I love him a lot.
I think that Gary Oldman was a good choice, but they did not do nearly enough with him. I think he was wasted in this role.
Aw.
I think they sanitized Sirius Black in a lot of ways. He's supposed to be like the uncle who gives you your first beer, and in this, he's just like another noble wizard. Like he has a couple seconds in the Shrieking Shack where it's like, yeah, that's book Sirius, but the rest of it, he's like poetic and stuff. And book Sirius is. He's a questionable
I
authority
love them
figure.
both. God,
Give
I
me
love
a
them
Sirius who is clearly coming out of years and years of isolation.
Exactly. My least favorite casting is Timothy Spall because he's too obviously evil.
both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
That's true.
he was supposed to be like the whole point of his character and why the betrayal was so fucked up was that he was the last person anyone expected. Somehow all of these people looked at Timothy fucking Spall and they're
like,
like,
nope.
you know who I
He's
trust?
not evil.
You.
You know
I
who
like-
I don't think is a rat is this kid who obviously looks like a rat.
I like to think that being a rat for 12 years made him look more
That way. I believe that too.
I don't know
Yeah.
because we said that when we were talking about the movie when we watched it together, and that we
was
looked up
blacked out.
what Timothy Spall looked like when he was younger, and he
Okay,
looked
but that's
exactly
Timothy
the
Spall.
same.
But
point.
Peter Pettigrew, the character.
Here's
Yeah.
the thing.
I
Okay,
think- No.
Here's the thing. I've mentioned a couple times that I was super drunk when we watched this movie together, and I just want to explain why. I should have done this so much earlier in the episode. Here's the thing. We were watching Harry Potter. We were chatting with our listeners on our Discord server, which was a lot of fun. If you want to be part of our Discord, hop on over to Patreon.
Are you going to say what
drunk me up close and personal. And our dear friend Adele made a rule that every time Harry Potter falls down, you drink.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
He falls down like 10 times in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I drank a lot of wine.
She had already been pre-gaming, and then that happened.
So I was so drunk that night, and I wanted to explain myself because it really wasn't my fault. If you think that was like an improper way to conduct myself, you can take it up with Adele.
It's Adele's fault.
So he does fall so much, though. He does a lot of fainting in this, and like I really love Daniel Radcliffe a lot, and like I think that he just really becomes Harry Potter.
I was going to say, I think
movie.
he really starts to become more. There is, I mean, lest we forget the fake cry, the crying under the invisibility cloak.
Do it.
He was that friend.
He was that friend.
Oh God,
that scene's not his best acting. However, there are a lot of other moments in this movie where I'm like, he is Harry. Like that's a good job.
I recorded like 10 takes of myself yelling he was their friend into the distance for the intro of this episode.
Oh,
and,
good.
Like,
I'm so glad.
But like in the end, I was like, you know what? Like it's going to come up organically. Like I don't need to do this right now. So
Mary Clay's going to do it. Don't you worry. I recorded a bunch of clips because I'm going to make it into a TikTok of like POV, you're with me while I'm watching Prisoner of Azkaban. And it's just me quoting some of the most random parts of the movie.
Pav, you're with me watching Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh, the new TikTok voice.
She's the worst.
It's gross. Yeah.
She's the demon in my nightmares.
I am now shipping the new Zoom we are recording voice with the new scary TikTok voice. I think that they're wives. I think that they're very happy
both
together.
Gay. Yeah.
Yes.
They're both gay computers.
Yes.
I think their mother is the computer in the Disney Channel original movie Smart House.
Yes.
No! We watched that really recently on our other podcast, Movie Anchor. Wow, Smart House was so good. Why are they all women? Why are all these digital assistants
computer
women?
voices women?
Something
to
think
weird.
about moving on. So who's your like favorite character? Let's like try to put the books aside and just like watching the movie. Who's like the most fun to watch?
Trelawney.
Yeah, I was gonna say fun to watch is Trelawney.
Fun to watch is Trelawney. I mean, that's Emma Thompson in her best, honestly. To me,
just having a
throughout the whole
time.
series. Yeah, just
look beyond
just loving it.
Yeah, she is clearly having a blast.
Yeah.
I feel like these like really enthusiastic, ridiculous older British actors really help to open the younger actors. They're like, you just gotta commit, dude. You just have to do it all and they'll like it.
I remember seeing some interview or something where Daniel Radcliffe was talking about like some of his favorite scenes to film, and he was talking about he was definitely talking about like filming stuff with Gary Oldman, and how like that really had a big influence on him as like an actor. And I was just thinking about that when I was watching the scene of where they're standing off to the side looking up at Hogwarts, the scene which is the end of the movie for me.
They love each other. They just want to be there for
man,
each other.
God, it kills me. And just every time I'm just like, how different would Harry's life be if Remus had taken his potion?
Wait, here's a question. If Harry had tried to go live with Sirius, doesn't he have to go to the Dursleys every summer to replenish the love magic?
I think like Dumbledore would have been like, I'm sorry, Harry, you can't do that.
And then I think that Sirius would have said, fuck you, I'm taking this kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll bring him home. But then it's all like that, because the whole magic of like, as long as you can call this place your home.
Aww.
But like also doesn't like Sirius inherits Grimmauld Place, which is, as established in book 5 is just like
a safe place.
Yeah, it's already basically a fortress. So
true. All right, valid points.
But love.
But I would argue that Sirius's love for Harry at that point should take over.
Just like he's there.
What?
Yeah.
Well, because Lily's not there, so it's like the love magic that's there is probably stronger than she's like fading away into memory.
And then Lupin can be like, hey, I just got fired from Hogwarts. I kind of need a place to stay. Can I move in? And then they move in, and then they become gay dads and raise Harry. The end.
Yeah, Hugh Grant moves in for some reason as well.
Honestly, like, in a universe where Harry got to have any time living with Sirius, Lupin would have to be there because they both need a parent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, all three of them honestly need each other.
Lupin's like, I have to move in with you because it's like, why? I'm an adult. It's like, no, you're not. You were put in prison when you were 20 years old. You don't know how to use a toaster.
Yeah, no, literally. I'm just imagining Lupin being like, I remember your cooking before you went to jail. And no, you are not caring for a child.
You will
like
poison
this.
this
Absolutely
child.
not. Yeah.
Here's my thing about the Marauders being literal children when they were thrown into these circumstances. I have always thought that was a weird call that sort of felt like a thing that was imposed after the fact to me. Like it was not something she necessarily planned out of like, well, James was like 19 when he was killed or whatever. Like, why? What does that matter? I mean, I guess the timeline doesn't line up or whatever, but all it does is give fuel to people being like, well, the Marauders are the wrong age in the movies. And
that's true, too.
That is just my least favorite discourse, honestly, because, like, first of all, I don't give one half of one shit about the Marauders. I'll tell you that much up front.
Ooh, interesting.
That is my hottest Harry Potter take, is that, like, I do not care Marauders. It ain't written down, so it doesn't matter to me. And that's fine. Like, I get that I'm in the wrong there, that everybody loves the Marauders and love to...
No. Every opinion is valid, even...
No, I'll
even
straight
the
up say,
wrong
like,
ones.
I am the deep minority there. If somebody, doesn't...
To quote Holly from Dance Moms, that's okay. You can have your opinion.
Exactly.
It's just wrong.
Exactly. I get that
I believe you're entitled to your opinion, even if your opinion is wrong.
Everybody loves the Marauders fanfic and the stories that never got told and all that. It's just like, I don't know. To me, that sort of takes away from any of the found family aspects of the whole thing. Is that Harry and his obsession with his dad he never knew.
I agree.
Has always
kind
of felt weird for me.
I just get a lot of feels whenever I think about the scene of them walking into the train car and just thinking about it from Lupin's perspective, where like, a lot of people are like, there's no way Lupin was actually asleep that whole time. That's a long time for him. Or he's just a really deep sleeper. Who knows? And it's just like, imagine you're there and you chose a random carriage to sit in on the train and you're asleep, and then in walks in the son of your dead best friend who died because your other supposed best friend betrayed him and then killed your supposed other best friend, and then that best friend ended up not being dead and had actually set up the other best friend, and then all
Lupin's life is extremely depressing. So the whole thing with the Marauders that I find interesting is that, like, they were young idealists in the middle of a civil war, basically, who just, like...
Relatable.
Yeah, and they just, like, went for it, and, like, the whole tragedy is that, like, they were way too young for anything that they were dealing with, and then they died, and the fact that you get the backstory of the Marauders and, like, their youth, and you start filling in those gaps in Book 3 when the characters start growing up, creates this parallel of them now being the young people forced into this war way too young, just like the previous generation was, which is why I really enjoy the Marauders, just conceptually.
Sure.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Haley, because to me, it's like the Marauders are not part of this story. They're part of the backstory. And that is, I think, a lot of what films tend to lose is like the textured backstories of a lot of these book adaptations, which is like totally normal. But
sure.
It still feels like a loss, I think, to people who, like you said, Haley, have created these parallels that make it more like literary and like feel more artful.
Yeah, and like the reason that the details of their backstory being cut from the movie bothers me so much is that, one, the fact
That's what we've all been working to this whole day.
So, one, the fact that Sirius Black can turn into a dog is vitally important to the plot of Prisoner of Azkaban, because the question throughout the whole book and the whole movie is how the fuck does he keep getting in and how the fuck did he escape?
Well, I thought you were going to say the question is, who's that dog?
Who's a good boy?
Well, I mean, that's always my question. Who is that dog? I want to know.
My thing is when he first appears as the dog, obviously we're supposed to think, oh, he's the Grim. It's this ominous figure. We don't know that's serious. But when you rewatch it, and he appears and he's standing on the other side of the street growling and barking at his godson. It's like, serious.
Calm down.
Come on, bro. And then in the shack when he's like, only one will die tonight. Okay. And it's like, can
seriously?
Seriously. I mean, I know you've been trapped in prison, but let's think through this.
And that's part of the whole...
Haley's building to something.
That whole thing is part of why, like, the emphasis on and the prioritization of, like, the most dramatic thing for the moment throughout this whole movie bothers me so much, is because in the book, Sirius coming across as evil is because Sirius is kind of irresponsible and doesn't think things through. Yeah. And he's kind of a fucking idiot, which, like, I love him so much. He's kind of an idiot.
I'm with you.
Gary Oldman, I love Gary Oldman, and Gary Oldman can play belligerent dumbass, and they didn't do that with Gary Oldman. They were like, we have Gary Oldman, and we're going to have him be Gary Oldman.
Classic Gary Oldman.
Right, so that's why his characterization bothers me a lot.
I get that.
And just, also... Let me just compare the way that the things that they cut and how they cut them to Goblet of Fire, because you can cut things, like important things from a book, in the movie version and have it make sense.
I'm not aware.
No, it can be done very, very well. Goblet of Fire did it really, really well. It took a lot of really fucking convoluted shit and just trimmed it down for size. Like the whole thing with how Harry gets the gillyweed. They cut the house elves out. Fine. We already had this thing there of Neville giving him the gillyweed, which was the original plan for fake Moody that never went through because Harry's too dumb. So they were just like, all right, well, just have him ask Neville. So, all right, that made sense because they cut the house elf thing. Here's the thing. The house elf thing isn't relevant to anything else in the rest of the series at all, so we don't miss it when it's cut.
But it's the reason that Ron and Hermione make out in the end.
Well, I disagree, because I think a lot of that has to do when you don't have Dobby throughout the rest of the movies, and then all of a sudden he just shows up in the 7th one randomly. Okay. I think that's bad.
Okay, I'm reeling this in a little bit.
I know, yeah, reel us back in. From
the whole series to this particular movie.
I would rather them cut the Marauder story all day than cut the Quidditch World Cup. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh my god, fuck any Quidditch. Okay, who would you fuck? Who would you fuck? Out of all the adults in this film, who would you fuck? I'll tell you first. Y'all know the answer.
Oh, yeah. I know your answer.
Professor R.J. Lupin.
Who's he?
Haley,
Professor R.J. Lupin. Does she know everything? It's on his suitcase, Ronald.
See, I quoted it wrong. That's my superpower, is I quote everything wrong all the time, including my favorite stuff. Haley, who would you fuck?
I am so torn between Sirius and Lupin.
Yeah, I gotta pick.
Both?
Because Sirius has the teeth in this one.
Yeah.
But also just like I've
hasn't showered in 12 years.
I know.
Yeah, can Sirius run up to the castle real quick and take a nap? A shower? A nap. He probably needs a nap too.
Yeah, he definitely needs a nap.
A little bit of both.
Take him you gotta take me, baby.
But also, here's the thing. I've had like a little baby crush on Sirius in many ways since I like read book 3 for the first time. I was like, this dude's dope.
It's valid.
So I'm just torn between the whole like, do I want to be so on brand as to go for the dude who reminds me of my father, or do I want to fuck nice sweater guy? Like,
decision.
That whole thing of women going for dudes who remind them of their fathers. It is a thing.
Guys, were you guys both on the episode where we were talking about which Marauder is your dad? Who was I talking about that with?
What?
My dad is James Potter.
You discovered while watching the movie that Lupin is Sean's dad.
Okay, no, Lupin looks like Sean, my husband's dad, and I don't want to talk about it. They don't act the same at all. Wait, he teaches. Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay, wait, reel it back.
The big sweater guy?
No, he's not a sweater guy. He's an idiot. Okay, sorry. I love you, Wally. If you're listening. Moving on.
Can we talk about, while we're just kind of on the topic of like Lupin and fucking, can we talk about that?
I'm so sorry. I need to hear who Ethan's gonna fuck.
Oh, yes. We're glossing over important.
It's a toss-up between Sirius Black and Cornelius.
It's my man. He does dress very fabulously, but not as fabulously as he could.
He's got the fashion sense. He's got the power dynamic.
Okay, I like that tie, so I'll accept 2. Okay, great. What were you gonna say, Mary Clay? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted us to talk about the yes. Oh yes, I knew her. And I have 2 sides to that. So
okay, here's my side. And I was gonna say this earlier when we were talking so briefly about Wolfstar, and I feel the same way about Sam and Frodo, where it's like, when I ship people, do I think that they like can, should, and like we're supposed to be together? No. Do I think it's fun to like be like, ha,
yeah, exactly,
adorable?
Exactly.
I'll ship anybody, dude. I don't give a shit. That would be so cute if Remus and Little Thing.
So I definitely think that's one way to interpret that. And then a more recent interpretation I have is that, because he then goes on to say like, she was there for me in a time when no one else was. I think that could also imply that the other boys were just dumb as rocks and they didn't pick up on the fact that he was a werewolf, and Lily is much smarter than them. And she knew immediately and was like, "You okay, bro?" And he was like, "I'm really not. Thanks for asking."
Big Hermione energy.
Yeah.
I mean,
and so she might have been the only one he could confide in about that for a while until the others knew.
Yeah.
Out of the 3 of them, 4 of them, Remus is the only logical choice for Lily Evan. Pre-year 7 at least.
I agree, yeah.
Because like James is such a scumbag.
Okay, but
we all like a bad boy.
People like scumbags.
Yeah, I don't think Lily.
Did you watch season 3 of Gilmore Girls? It's all about teenage girls wanting scumbags.
Okay, so which one of them's Logan is the real thing? Because he's the only one that matters.
Okay, all right, let's do this. Okay, Dean, Logan, and Jess.
Okay.
Remus. It's not gonna work.
No, we're doing
Peter
this.
Pettigrew is Dean.
No!
Logan.
I mean, Logan is definitely James.
Yeah.
Logan is definitely James.
Logan is
he's
James.
The rich boy.
Yeah,
he comes from money.
I mean, I don't like
He's
him.
an asshole. He definitely convinces Lily to steal a boat. 100%.
Oh wait, no,
we're
hang
talking
on.
about Gilmore Girls.
I'll say this: Marty is Peter Pettigrew.
Who's Marty?
Marty is naked.
Marty's Lupin.
Naked guy.
Marty's Lupin, 100%. Because Lupin's
okay,
the one,
Marty's Lupin.
I don't think any of them is Peter.
I don't know.
We need to do a bonus episode.
No, I think Dean is Peter
Pettigrew.
Logan. No, I think Jess is. No, I don't know. I think Logan. You know what? I will say that. I think Jess is James, because Jess eventually has character growth, whereas Logan never really improves.
Jess is the
so
one
I think Logan is serious.
I'm gonna shut down. Okay, great.
You can cut that out and use it for bonus content.
I used my quiet voice. Let's talk briefly about, I keep saying briefly, we never talk briefly. I would be remiss if we didn't mention, though, the fucking soundtrack, the score of this movie. That's kind of what it sounds like when they're in the night bus.
I wrote down several times, I was like, John Williams did not have to go. And this is also the last Harry Potter movie that was officially scored by John Williams.
Okay, wait, I'm going to read you guys a text. My best friend Alexis lives 2 hours away from me, and she and I are big Harry Potter fans. And as I mentioned, I was blackout drunk when we were watching this on Friday. And here's a text that I sent to my best friend Alexis at 9:30 p.m. on the dot. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban has a lot of music that's like burn, 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 burn.
That's so true.
It's a lot of horns.
You think it's true? Because I'm having a hard time like getting back in that zone. Like what?
You don't know what you meant when you sent that? Is that what you mean?
I
don't know what I meant when I said. Mm-hmm.
Especially after 1 and 2, John Williams is the wrong choice for this.
Interesting.
I truly think the movie series got better when specifically in number 5. I think that the score brings the movie to life in a way that the big, heavy John Williams music never did.
I think each composer, I would need to like watch maybe the later movies to remember more specifically.
The music in the later movies is very like silly.
When I think about music from Harry Potter, I think about the damn fireworks scene.
Oh,
with the strings.
I think of all the very heartfelt, like majestic magical music that John Williams created. 100%.
I think you both have a really good point, because like John Williams was a great choice for the first couple of movies, because John Williams can write a theme like nobody's business.
Yes.
He can write a memorable theme that stays in your head and like can carry you through 7-8 movies. Like you can keep using them over and over and playing off of them, and they are always going to be good. I don't think he would have been the best choice for the whole thing. I do think that it was a good move to bring in some fresh blood and like get some different styles in there, because I mean Hooper's scores slap. Like they're just good.
Yeah, I don't think I would have wanted to see the whole series be composed by John Williams, because also that's when you get into this mix of there are all these different directors too. So I think it is refreshing to get all these other composers come in and add their own mix to it.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I keep trying desperately to think of like any Harry Potter song besides the main song. Like this whole time you've been talking, I'm like, what is a song that's in Harry Potter? And my brain just keeps doing the song from the very end of Star Wars, where it's like da 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 da.
You know, the one that's in my head right now is the montage music from 5 when they're planning and putting together the DA, like do 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 do, like, and then it's do do do, like it's fun.
It's fun. That is fun.
Umbridge's theme.
Guys, why do we keep talking about other?
Okay, this movie. Specifically, I love the night bus theme. I think that's so fitting, and I think it's so perfect for that scene. And then
it's very jazzy.
I love Buckbeak's theme, and how it returns like kind of in different ways throughout the movie. And then also, I really love the choice in when they're going through like the second timeline. I love the choice that there's a constant ticking in the background, and sometimes it's fainter and sometimes he makes it a little bit more noticeable, but it's always there so that you're reminded that like this is a time traveling sequence.
It's kind of like the heartbeat effect in horror films where it's like we're thinking about our mortality.
Yeah. Music in movies is such a huge deal for me. Like, it can make or break a movie. It could turn a bad movie into a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Easily. I love John Williams. Like, he's one of my all-time favorites. Jurassic Park's one of my top movies ever.
Yes.
I love the Star Wars music. I do think he did fantastic for 1 and 2, especially because all of it sounds like Christmas, right? It sounds like magic, right?
His sleigh bells throughout the first movie.
His music smells like fucking nutmeg and cinnamon to me, like the whole time. It's like I could put on
snuggly.
I could put on the Harry Potter 1 soundtrack and like chill out on Christmas Eve. Like, we're good. And that's how that movie feels to me too. I will die by the fact that Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is a Christmas movie. I will live and die by that fact.
No, you're right.
And I do think that he does a great job of, like you said, making memorable themes. The big pieces from these movies continue to be great, and they use his themes throughout the whole thing. By the time that Alexander Desplat gets his hands on it in 7 and 8, like it's just this big, amalgamation of past music that it doesn't even sound like a Desplat
so much
score.
To pull from.
But yeah, I do think that it starts to lose the thread a little bit. John Williams, for me, has a history of sort of phoning movies in after a while, right? Where he like.
All gonna get paid.
I don't know. I think I disagree, because I think he came in and was like, Alfonso's going for a different vibe. I'm gonna go for a new vibe as well.
I think the where he really won me here is the music that goes throughout the whole Hogsmeade sequence. Honestly,
interesting. I don't even remember that.
I don't think I could sing it to you, but it's like
I know I'm drawing a blank
in my head,
for a lot of these things.
In my head,
now.
there's a way it sounds, and it sounds good. Like my brain is telling me. My brain is telling me to mention that, and
your brain
bring it up, right?
Your brain remembers and it's like smile. I get it.
My brain remembers, but my ears don't. Is the problem?
So here's a fun story. When I was a kid, I used to listen to my Walkman every night as I was falling asleep in my bed, and a lot of times it was Christina Aguilera's album Stripped, because there's a couple songs on that album that start with Christina getting nasty. And I would be like, yeah, I'm 14 and I'm awesome. And but anyway, a lot of the time though, I listened to the Prisoner of Azkaban soundtrack, which let me tell you is simply not the album to listen to as you're trying to go to bed, sleep, because it lulls you off to sleep and then it hits you with some
got a lot of
night bus shit. yeah. And then you're like, no. I would be awake and I would skip through the night bus and then I would get into the movie and I would like lull off to sleep. And then when it was werewolf time. And I would wake up and be like, oh no, it's werewolf time! And turn my Walkman off and be like, I need Christina Aguilera.
I can't fall asleep without Christina Aguilera.
I will also say it was, I think when I like first got my iPod and the only music I had on it was like whatever my dad added to it, which was a lot of the music that he had in his iTunes. So I had a lot
that's
of like...
my whole music experience also.
Except for it was like Glenn Miller Orchestra.
Yeah, let's go.
And then
Glenn
like
Miller.
Saturday Night Fever was on my iPod.
Awesome.
And then weirdly enough, the High School Musical soundtrack was on there. And then when I started getting gifted iTunes gift cards, I purchased a lot of random individual songs from the Harry Potter soundtracks, and then I would fall asleep to them. And they were, I believe,
Chaotic
Gilderoy
Evil.
Lockhart's theme, probably like one of the main Harry Potter themes, the Dumbledore's Army theme, the
So dramatic.
fireworks theme, the da 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 da. I'm not doing it good now. I'm gonna peace out. And Umbridge's theme, and so I would also fall asleep, but it would be to me like imagining Umbridge like terrorizing the school, and I'm like, oh yes, let's go to sleep.
Mary Clay, is there any last like things that we didn't talk about that you want to make sure we touch on?
Yeah, let me. Buckbeak's flight. Oh, do we think that Dumbledore from the original timeline knew what alternative timeline Harry and Hermione were up to?
I think in the books, no, and in the movie, yes.
I would agree with that.
Because in the movie, he's so funny, and I don't mind that change at all. He's like, wait, just a second, look at these strawberries. Like, look at the mountains. Like, look how, like, take a moment and look how beautiful it is. And as they're struggling to get out of the scene, and I like that a lot. That's hilarious. But in the books, he doesn't do anything of the sort. Okay. He's just like, we need your signature, dude. And he's like, that makes sense. Okay. It's paperwork.
I definitely think he knew both.
Okay. That's the thing with Dumbledore is you always are like,
that's what I love about him. And that's what I love about Gandalf too.
Stop the podcast. Dumbledore can read minds. Like I always forget it. He can read minds. There's twice as many minds to read in this like square 15-foot area than he's expecting.
Yeah, but
of course he knows.
But we don't know enough about how legilimency works to know if you can read a mind that you don't know is there. You have to be focusing on the mind in question.
But this is the beautiful thing about Harry Potter, though. This is the beautiful thing about the Harry Potter series, though, is it doesn't fucking matter how the magic works, and it never has.
It can just happen.
Every other fantasy series is so bogged down in how magic works, who it works for, whether or not it fucking works or not. Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, every Robert Jordan book, every Brandon Sanderson book, they're all like this. J.K. Rowling was like, fuck it, magic happens, deal with it. And that's the thing, that's truly the thing I think she got the most right ever, was just being like, there is magic, let it be, and it doesn't matter. That's what I love about this series. It's who knows how legitimacy works? Who knows how time turners work? Who gives a shit?
It's all from Harry's perspective, and Harry's dumb, so
that's the thing.
Whatever.
Harry's the best unreliable narrator ever because he's so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It's my catchphrase. There's a reason he's not in Ravenclaw.
I'm gonna write that whole rant down and post it as a blog on my website, and I'm gonna circulate it because that was very beautiful to watch.
It just doesn't. The magic is so secondary to everything else that happens, and like they do the whole thing where with the twin cores and the fighting and the Expelliarmus beats every other. Harry knows 2 spells ever: Expecto Patronum and Expelliarmus, and he wins wars with it. And it doesn't. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter.
What's that quote? That's like it's better. Well, shit, I don't know the quote at all, but it's like it's better to be really good at one thing.
Jack of all trades.
The master
of none.
A master with a rock can defeat a novice with a sword. Is that it?
No, Haley, I've never heard that in my life. But
you're thinking of a jack of all trades is master of none. That's the complete phrase?
I feel like there's something in between those two that I'm looking for, but it doesn't matter. Y'all get me. Haley, was there anything that we haven't covered yet in this episode that you want to make sure we touch on?
No, I don't think so.
She got wait.
Tom.
Okay, wait. Okay,
barman.
you just reminded me that half an hour ago when I asked who is the worst cast person in this movie, I never gave my answer because my answer was going to be...
I don't think that was the casting problem. I think it was the direction that they went for that character.
For sure. I was going to bring up Tom and Flitwick, right? Isn't like different in this one?
Flitwick is different, but I don't mind it.
It's the same
gave him
actor,
a different
though.
vibe. Yeah.
But in the first two, he's like a little more gremlin-y, right? And then in this one,
no,
he looks
it's
nicer.
just it's just costume. It's just the aesthetics.
Yeah.
It's the aesthetic change.
Flitwick in one has like
he's more
luxurious brown hair, and in another one he's like an old gremlin-y gray-haired dude.
I think
he
he's
never
just
has
like
luxurious
an old
brown hair.
He's just an older wizard.
He does have
In
luxurious brown
1 and
hair.
2, I think he's just meant to be like an older wizard. And I think probably maybe to remind you more of like what we would imagine a fictional like fantasy dwarf to be. Maybe they were trying to play into that since he's short.
So are you suggesting that he stylistically had long gray curly hair, and then he was like, for this next year, I'm going to go back to the brown,
and then
like an Instagram model?
No,
actually, I think the actor Warwick Davis talks about this transformation, and he talks about how like, oh yeah, it's just like Flitwick deciding to get a makeover or something.
No, dude, I am looking at these pictures. I'm looking at these pictures, and I know you don't know Star Wars, Mary Clay, but one looks like after Palpatine got all fried, and the other one looks like before.
He got queer-eyed. That's what happened in between 2 and 3.
Absolutely,
He got queer-eyed. Yes. They called the Fab Five on him.
He got like, can they take like 20 years off? I guess they can.
Have
magic.
you watched
They can do
that
whatever.
show? Yes, of
No,
course.
right. I've
is true.
cried watching that show.
We all have.
He's also the charms master. Like, if anybody could do it, it's him. Then he could be like, I have better hair now. Swoof.
I didn't give enough love to that scene when Fred and George give Harry the Marauders map, because in that moment they are like the most Fred and George they've ever been. And I just love that moment.
It is very cute.
Is that Dumbledore? Dumbledore, in his study, pacing. He does that often. So this map shows everyone, what they're doing every minute of every day.
Mary Clay, before we started recording, I recommended that you play 2 different twins from The Parent Trap earlier in this phone call. So the prophecy has come true.
I definitely think they let Fred and George be Fred and George more in this movie than the previous 2.
I enjoyed it.
And it set a great precedent, honestly.
Yeah. So, Ethan, is there anything about this movie that you want to make sure we touch on before we wrap it up?
I do just want to talk about the freeze frame at the end and how painful
don't talk
it
about
is.
that.
No.
Again,
Let's talk about it.
Like I said, this movie is not perfect. It has its faults, and that freeze frame is unfortunately one of them.
They do their very best to ruin this movie right at the end.
It's not good.
They didn't need it to be a freeze frame. He could have just flown off into the distance, and then Iris closes on him as he flies away. That would have been fine. But they decided to do Breakfast Club on him for some reason.
If they had played Don't You Forget About Me by the line, it would have been better.
Don't you forget about me. I was thinking about doing like a TikTok edit with that.
I mean, I still think my favorite video ever is about Harry Potter is the video of like, what if we turned number 6 into a teen rom-com.
Rom-com, yeah.
Yes, that is a great... I'll link that in the show notes.
Oh
that's
my god,
it
is just like, that's all I can think about when I think about that movie now, is that freaking I am the chosen one. With the whatever generic guitar music ever. No, I think we hit all of it. It's, I thoroughly enjoy this movie. I think it's great. Like I said, it's my second least favorite book, ahead of Chamber. But
we should have had Tyler on. Tyler loves this movie.
He does. He is an apologist for this movie and this book.
No, but
I'm a fan. I enjoy it.
Yeah, I would agree. I like the book a lot. It is one of my favorite. I've always said that the third book is the best and the best. The fourth movie just pure entertainment.
You think the fourth movie is the best one?
I'm allowed to have my opinion.
Here we go.
Moving on.
Fight.
No,
Everybody hates the movie except Christina and me.
I run the podcast and we're moving on. But like I enjoy this book and I enjoy this movie, and I feel like I'm able to just kind of be like, well, they didn't include everything, and like that's fine. Because I've been burned worse by other books before. And some adaptations are so bad we don't even mention. Okay, great. So,
or I will spend the next 5 months covering it on my podcast.
Oh, dude.
I'll be there for that, though.
Just you wait.
Just you wait.
Mark your calendar, Ethan. Bacon and Eggs will be covering The Hobbit probably end of July, early August.
Yes, absolutely.
Get ready. I believe the Hobbit movies are on the Peacock app, by the way. I have to mute my the ad for it comes on every now and then, and I have to scramble to mute the TV, and then I close my eyes for 30 seconds.
Fair enough. Well, I look forward to seeing you so we can talk about 3 Hobbit movies.
Okay, wow. Wow. The Hobbit movies.
That was a total tangent. We were talking about bad adaptations that we don't talk about, except for I'm going to have to talk about.
The first thing I thought about was Strange Unfortunate Events, the movie.
Oh, no, but see, I know it's not accurate at all, but I enjoy it so much.
See, there's some fandoms that I'm just so devoted to that I'm willing to accept the book and the movie as like different entities, and like I don't think Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban like counts for that, but my greatest example is Ella Enchanted. The movie just could not be more tonally different from the book, but I love them both so much.
You mean the book doesn't end with a musical number to
wow, like can you even believe the book is serious, okay?
Is it really? Honestly, I was right now years old when I found out that Ella Enchanted is a book.
Me too.
So.
What? Shut the fuck up. Okay, Haley, what were you going to say? It's a great book.
I mean, it's a good book, but what I was going to say is that the book doesn't end with a musical number to its detriment, although I do enjoy the book. But they, like, that's what they did right with that movie, is they had a clear idea of what they were going to do, and they were like, okay, we are going to make this a weird adaptation.
Not every book
we're
can
going
have
to
musical
A Knight's Tale this. Yeah.
I know. Definitely not all books are appropriate for musical numbers.
They can't all be the Hunger Games audiobooks. Where Tatiana Maslany from Orphan Black sings The Hanging Tree, but to a different tune they use in the movies.
Oh my god.
Today in this essay I will describe why I fucking hate the Hunger Games audiobooks, is because they had an established tune for that song, they used it in the movies, and they re-recorded the audiobooks, and they invented a new tune for that fucking song.
Wow. Why work smart, not hard? Am I right? Just use the tune we got already.
Or you can listen to The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings audiobooks, where the songs are set to a tune that you probably heard if you went to an Episcopal church in your childhood.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. That's a great place to end this episode on up. Cool. Let's move on to some plugs. Haley, will you please let people know where they can find you on the internet?
Thank you for reminding me, Christina, since I always forget. I'm Haley. You can follow me on Twitter, if you must, at @TheWritToWit. Oh god, I forgot we do plugs.
Yeah, well, just what do you have to recommend?
Honestly, I already recommended Shadow and Bone, but I've rewatched it 3 times since then, so, I'm just gonna recommend it again. Shit. It's just good.
Okay. All right. That's great. Mary Clay, where can people find you on the interweb? I guess is what I just said.
As well, yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at MCWhatsup and Instagram at MCTurnedDownForWhat, and you can listen to my podcast, That's What I'm Talking About. I did a lot of ragging on it. I realize it's just because The Hobbit isn't that exciting, but the podcast is better. I promise. Go listen to it.
It's about to get more exciting.
I believe no, it is. Actually, I don't know.
It's gotta eventually.
Stories.
It's simply.
I don't know. There's only 60 pages left, and they've already killed Smaug, and I thought that was going to be the rest of the book. So I don't know what's going to happen.
Hobbit spoilers. Jeez Louise.
Anyway, my plug is Bo Burnham's new special, Inside. It's all I've been able to think about the past couple days. It's definitely not. I've heard people phrase it as it's not a comedy special. It's like an indie psychological thriller about someone who is trying to make a comedy special.
Yeah,
that sounds right. Bo Burnham, while he is like a comedian right now, the way his career has taken him, he's more like a performance artist who talks about the act of performing comedy.
Yeah.
And that's
I watched that last night, and it was very poignant and beautiful.
Yeah. It's I haven't stopped thinking about it, and I'm probably going to watch it again later this week, so I highly recommend it. It's not a fun time.
I've been telling people to watch it on good mental health days because it really sets you up to be a comedy special, you know what I mean? And at the end it's not I mean,
given the way that Make Happy, his previous special, given the way that Make Happy ended,
right?
I figure, and then he took a 5-year, 6-year break from comedy. I figured this wouldn't be a super fun slam-a-jam-a ding-dong time, but and I was right. So go listen to it. Watch it.
It's super worth watching. Ethan, what about you? Where can people find you on the internet, hear your voice on the internet?
Cool. You can find me on Instagram at Edgehill Photos. That's EDGHILL. No second E in that. You can find me on Twitter at WowNow. That's W0WN0W. I am on the Bacon and Eggs Movie Lovers podcast every Thursday, where we get your podcast now on Spotify. And I am on Late to the Party, a actual play Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition podcast every other Monday, wherever you get your podcasts, and also on Spotify. You can find my band, Drop the Girl, wherever music is sold or given away for free. And you can also... I don't know what else to do. Oh, I've read 77 books this year so far, and I'm writing reviews for them.
Where?
Currently I'm redesigning my website, ethanedgehill.com, having it redesigned so I can post that as like a blog. But I've got 10 of them so far, and they're for free on the Bacon and Eggs page. So
that's
unlocked
awesome.
On the Bacon and Eggs Patreon. It's patreon.com/bacon and eggs. I'm doing 280 word maximum book reviews.
That's very cool.
Also, I've read 77 books, and it's fucking...
Congratulations, dude.
I'm in a reading challenge. I'm in second place.
Yeah, my goal was 2 books a month, and I think I'm well behind that, so...
Yeah, honestly, I've been setting my reading goal for 30 books a year, and it's been a little hard to keep up, so really good job.
I took most of May off, honestly, to do other things, because I read, I think, 27 books in April.
Jeez, that's incredible, dude.
So
okay, I'm in awe.
It's been something for sure.
Do you do other things besides read? How do people make time for this?
Well, I do a lot of audiobooks.
Yes,
also,
that's what's up.
I don't have a traditional
they
job.
cheat is the answer. No,
that's
I'm just
true.
kidding. Audiobooks are a valid form of consuming books.
The official pod stance is that audiobooks are valid as hell.
I play a lot of video games and listen to a lot of audiobooks at the same time, which people think
that's
I'm insane
awesome.
for. But
my brain would not be able to do that.
I'm with you on that. I listen to podcasts while I play video games all the time. Especially
I could never.
Fun fighting ones.
Then I'm like, oh my god, I just missed that whole bit. Let me rewind 5 minutes.
Oh, I've
and
never
then I'm
once...
like, oh, I just missed that whole bit. Let me rewind 5 minutes.
Mary Clay, when I played Breath of the Wild, I never once turned the sound on.
Yeah, it's games without all these cutscenes and stuff, you know.
I'm sorry, you didn't turn the sound on in Breath of the Wild?
No,
it's absolutely
I was listening
beautiful.
to the Adventure Zone the whole time.
It makes it so atmospheric.
I'm with you, dude.
I'm sorry. No, you don't know the experience of playing Breath of the Wild until you're walking through a peaceful meadow, and then all of a sudden you hear that damn Guardian music, and it's like do 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 do, and you're like, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. Where is it? Where is it?
Currently, I just get zapped out of nowhere because I can't hear the music.
Yeah, no, there's like a jazz piano.
Another fun game to play while you're listening to podcasts or audiobooks is Shadow of War or Shadow of Mordor. They have the exact same game mechanics, and it's just punch orcs in the face, and it's very good.
I will probably finish number 78 tonight.
What is it?
It's a book called We Sold Our Souls.
You said that so cheerfully for what it was.
About a metal musician whose band gets taken over by Satan.
Cool.
I
don't
know why I thought you were going to say, oh, it's We Bought a Zoo.
I currently in the book, the lead character is trying to break out of a celebrity rehab, which has been taken over by...
Whoa. Okay, so that sounds really
free on the Audible Plus catalog, so it's a good time.
Hell yeah. I've been your host, Christina. You can follow me on Instagram at Christina the Con. You can follow me on Twitter at Christina Con. You can follow me on TikTok at Sprouts Private Stash. That's where you can find me on the internet. I want to take this opportunity to plug each and every one of the WBNE podcasts that's been mentioned on this episode and the ones that haven't been mentioned on this episode because they're all just so incredibly excellent. And I also would like to plug lo-fi hip-hop as a genre.
Just in general.
I started a new job this week. I spent last weekend at the beach with 7 of my best girlfriends, which was a particular brand of fun. And I slept in between 2 of them, and no one sleeps silently. So lo-fi hip-hop has been my friend for many days now.
It provides good vibes.
Yeah, I've been listening to it at the office because it's like no one mad. They're like, put on some music. Come on, what do you got? Show us. And I'm like, it's not, you don't.
You should just put on full blast Lil Nas X.
So, yes, very soon. That's it. Ethan, thank you so much for joining us on today's episode.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute blast. I'd love to come on sometime and talk about a chapter of one of these lovely books.
Yes, please. We need help with Goblet of Fire. It's so long.
Absolutely. It really is. Jesus.
If you think that's long, just wait till you see the one that comes after that.
I know. We're going to be doing this podcast for so long.
Please don't tell me. Please don't tell me. Look, I don't know where my next guest is coming from after next week, so I get it.
See, I have one me. There's one me and one host, and it's great. We sometimes have guests, but we never have to have a guest, and that's the brilliant thing.
That's what's up.
Going back a year and a half, 2 years ago in my life, I would have told Mary Clay to find a friend and not do it alone.
Well, then, I'll be honest with you. I probably never would have made the podcast.
Yeah.
If you were like, you have to find someone you like enough to co-host a podcast with you, I would be like, I don't think the podcast is going to get made because I don't think I know anyone who will do that.
Awesome. Well, that's the end of The Prisoner of Azkaban. And as a reminder, we're going to be on a little bit of a hiatus over the summer, but we will be back along with the Hogwarts Express on September 1st, and maybe look out for a couple fun bonus episodes. Until next time, he was their friend. Come on, everybody. He was their friend.
He was their friend.
Hi, my name is Sam, and I've recently become an adult. But let's be honest, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. Like, can I still enjoy the kiddie rides at theme parks? And how do I look important and feel relaxed while travelling? Join me as I ask people how they are content with their life and feel capable as a functioning adult in society. Each Monday, myself and a guest will chat about a topic they feel passionate about and our adventures and struggles of being an adult in the real world.
The Restricted section was created and hosted by me, Christina Kahn, based on the book series by J.K. Rowling. All music by Ryan Kahn. Logo by Michael Hardison. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at RestrictedSectionPod or shoot us an email at restrictedsectionpod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts, feelings, complaints, conspiracy theories, or lavish praise.
He was their friend. And he betrayed them. He was their friend!
That movie sucked. I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.